Okay, I am Dr. Bharathi, Assistant Professor of Commerce, DKM College for Women, Vellore. Today, I am going to take the topic planning. So, why planning is needed? See, every organization which they want to, strive for the success and also to grow, they should, place a heavy emphasis on planning. So that is, planning is that much of important. For a success of the organization, planning is very, very important. Some managers, they may find it very easy to face the problems. Some managers, they may find it very difficult to face the problem. The difference lies in the planning. So the people who want to get succeed in the business, they just have to go for planning, and that planning depends upon the capabilities of the manager who involves in planning. So planning is very, very important as far as the business is concerned. Now, what will happen when the planning is not done, or when the unplanned is going on in a business? What is the consequences? Let us see. This is the consequences of unplanning. If we are not planning in an organization, automatically what will happen? The consequences will be, heavy burden will be on our head. That is, the damages and loss will be great. So that's why planning is that much of important. Otherwise, we have to face the consequences of very heavy loss. So this picture shows it very clearly. Now coming to what is exactly what I am going to say in today's topic is the following things. See, the presentation focus on, first one is meaning. I am going to tell you the meaning, then the definition, the nature of planning, the importance of planning, then I am going to focus upon the advantages and limitations of planning, then process of planning, and lastly I am going to conclude with the types of plans. So these are all the things which we are going to see in today's session. Now coming to the meaning. The meaning of the planning. Planning is the process of determination of a course of action to achieve the desired goals or objectives. So actually, thinking before doing is planning. So for everything, even we know very well that for each and every day we are doing planning. It is common everywhere and it is common every day. But as far as business is, when we comes into a business, this planning becomes a specific activity, because the success of the organization depends upon the planning. So that's why this planning, in business, it becomes a specific activity. Here, the planning requires the anticipating the future and consciously deciding what to do, how to do, when to do, and who to do it. Now, coming to the definitions related to the planning. See the definition, many definitions are here, but we are not going to consider all the definitions. According to the convenient, what definition we find it easy or we find it to be compact to us, that definition we can consider. So now I am going to take the second definition that is given by Harold, Cones and O'Donnell. That definition says that planning is deciding in advance what to do, how to do, when to do, and who else to do it. Actually, this planning bridges a gap between from where we are to and where we want to go. So because we just want to make something, in the sense we have to do a planning. That is very important. That planning, how we are going to do, when to do, how to do, and who has to do it, everything depends in case of planning. Now coming to what is the nature of planning? The next thing is we are going to discuss about this nature of planning. Here first one is a managerial function, because we know very well that there are 6 different functions of functions are there as far as this business organization is concerned. The first and the foremost thing is planning. Then comes what is called as an organizing, directing, staffing, controlling and coordinating. The first and the foremost function is planning. Without planning, the other functions seems to be very null. So that's why planning is that much of importance. So that's why we are calling this as a first and the foremost managerial function is planning. Then comes what is called as a goal oriented, because we are going to some goal is being placed in a business. So in order to accomplish that goals, we have to go for planning. So that's why we are calling this as a goal oriented. Third one is pervasive. Pervasive in the sense it is common everywhere. So it is everywhere, and in every place this planning is there. So that's why we are calling this as a pervasive. Next comes what is called as a continuous activity, because once one plan is over, the other plans comes into the picture. So that's why it seems to be a continuous process or a continuous activity. Next comes what is called as an intellectual process. Intellectual process in the sense it is related to mind, because in order to go for planning we have to think and we have to go for thinking process. So that's why this being called as an intellectual process. Next comes what is called as a futuristics. Why we are calling this as a futuristics? In the sense we are anticipating what is going to be happen in future, based on that we are going for the planning. So that's why it is being called as a futuristics. Next comes what is called as a decision making, because we are going to select a best choice among the alternative course of action in case of planning. So that's why this is being, we are calling this one of the nature is decision making. So these are all the some of the nature of the what is a planning, so which is given in the form of this picture. And now for each and everything I am going to give, for each and every nature I have given you the the theory part. That is a managerial function. This is the first and the foremost function. Next it comes what is called as a goal oriented. It focuses on defining the goals of the organization, identifying alternate course of action and deciding the appropriate action plan which is to be undertaken for reaching the goals. So pervasive in the sense, it is pervasive in the sense that it is present in all the segments and required at all the levels of the organization. That's why we are calling this as a pervasive. It is present everywhere. Then continuous process. Plans are made for a specific term, say for a month, quarter, year and so on. Once that period is over, new plans are being drawn, considering the organization present and future requirement and conditions. Then it is an intellectual process, because it's a mental exercise. It involves the application of mind to think, forecast, imagine intellectually and innovate, etc. Futuristic. In the process of planning, we take a sneak peek of the future. It encompasses looking into the future to analyze and predict it so that the organization can face future challenges effectively. And decision making. Decisions are made regarding the choice of alternate course of action that can be undertaken to reach the goal. The alternative chosen should be best among all, with the least number of the negative and highest number of the positive outcomes. Now we are going to see the importance of planning, because why planning is important. See, the planning is important because of all the related points. One is it increases the efficiencies of the organization. Next thing is it reduces the risk. That is, when we go for planning, the other risk associated with the business we can reduce somehow. So that's why it reduces the business related risk. It facilitates proper coordination in the organization. It aids in organizing. It gives a right direction, keeps good control, helps to achieve objectives, motivates the personnel, encourages creativity and innovation in the organization, helps in decision making. Decision making, we know very well that choosing the best among the many alternatives that is available. So that these are all some of the points which is considered to be very thing which is important for planning. Next comes what is called as a process. Here in cases of process of planning, these are all some of the process that is being involved in the planning. First is analyzing the opportunities. See, analyzing the opportunities in the sense, we must identify what are all the opportunities that is available for planning. So after identifying the opportunities, we have to analyze the opportunities. For analyzing the opportunities, what we have to do is we have to collect the informations. What are all the information, what are all the real facts and figures that is available, that we have to collect, and we have to analyze what is the opportunities that is available to us. Only when the facts and figures are there, we could be easily able to go for planning. Without this information, planning what we done, may go wrong, because planning is based on what will happen in the future. So that's why the facts and the figures will very much help us for the future, for the planning. Next comes for this, before going into any thing, first we have to set the objectives. Setting the objectives or laying down the objective is the first and the foremost thing which is very, very important when we enter into a planning. Then we have to develop the premises. Then after doing all these things, the next thing what we have to do is we have to identify the alternatives. What are all the alternatives that is available, that we have to identify. And because why this identifying alternatives is important in a sense, because we know very well that only when the alternatives is available, we can select the best alternative among the different alternatives that is being available. So that's why we have to identify the alternatives first, and then we have to evaluate each and every alternatives which is convenient to us, which will fit into us. And after identifying all these things, identifying and evaluating the alternatives, the next thing what we have to do is we have to select the best alternatives. Then after the best alternative is being selected, then we have to go for implementing the action plan. Then that action plans, even after all the implementation is over, what we have to do is we have to monitor everything, whether the planning is going on very well. So if the reviewing is not there, in the sense, automatically what will happen? We do not know how far the plan is being working. So that's why this reviewing or monitoring the action plan is very, very important. So these are all some of the process that is being involved in a planning. The next, now we are going to discuss about the advantages of planning. Advantages in the sense, planning facilities management by objective. We know very well that what is management by objectives, because each and every single person, when they work or concentrate on their work, naturally it leads to the success of the organization. Everyone works in their own way, so not everybody in every level is working in their own way. In the sense, naturally it will lead to the success of the organization. That is the management by objective. And planning minimizes uncertainties. Planning facilitates coordination, and planning improves employees' morale. Planning helps in achieving the economies. Economics, somehow we can say that it will reduce the cost also sometimes, Planning facilitates controlling. Controlling in the sense, very well we can control the thing. Like sometimes, the standard will be there, the actual will be there. We could be easily able to compare the standard with that of the actual, and we can find out what is exactly how the planning is going on. So that's why it facilitates controlling. Planning provides a competitive edge, and at last, planning encourages innovations in the organization. Next, coming to the limitations. So both advantages and limitations are common everywhere, but so what we have to see or analyze is that advantage should always outweigh the limitations. But here, when it comes to limitation, we should know something about the limitations also. That limitation is nothing but, first is it's a costly process, then it is a time consuming process. Planning cannot give accurate and reliable result. Because why we are telling this planning cannot give accurate and reliable result, in the sense, because the planning, we are considering only the future before going into the planning. So future action, what will happen in future, that we are going to consider, So that's why this we cannot give an accurate picture or a reliable result as far as planning is concerned. So rapid changes that arises in the environment is a limitations to the planning. Human tendency that present is always more real than the future. So these are all some of the limitations of planning. Now comes to the types of plans. See, what are all the various types of plans now? One is based upon the breadth. Next one is based upon time frame, specificity, frequency of use. Now coming to the planning, that is types of planning based on breadth, This types of planning is, one is the strategic plan, the other one is the operational plan. When coming to the strategic plan, this is applied to the whole entire organization. It establishes the organization overall goals. It seeks to position the organization in terms of its environment, cover extended periods of time. So this is what we are calling it as a strategic planning. Next comes to an operational plans. Specify the details of how the overall goals are to be achieved, and it cover only for a short period of time. So this is based upon the breadth. Now coming to the next one, based upon the time frame and specificity. Based on time frame, we can divide this plan into two things. One is long-term plan, the other one is short-term plan. The plans which with time frames extending beyond 3 years, then we are calling this as a long-term plan. When the plan with time frames of below 1 year, so we are calling this as a short-term plan. This plan is based upon time frame. Next comes to plans that based upon specificity. There are again, we are dividing it over two parts. One is specific plan, the other one is directional plan. When coming to the specific plan, Plans that are clearly defined and leave no room for the interpretation is specific plan. Then coming to directional plans, flexible plans that set out general guidelines, provide focus, yet allow discretion in implementation is what we are calling it as a directional plans. Based on the frequency of the use, we are going to divide the plans into two types. One is the single-use plans, the other one is the standing plan. What is a single-use plan? That is a one-time plan specifically designed to meet the need of a unique situation. Next comes what is called as a standing plan. Ongoing plans that provide guidance for the activities performed repeatedly. For that, we need this standing plans. Thank you all. Thank you.